Hello, this is the last installment of the solutions for exercises from section 1-1 for Math 101. We're going to be doing problems 43 through 52. If you missed the other ones, go ahead and watch part 1 or part 2. For 43 through 46, we're going to be doing operations with numbers that are written in scientific notation. So we're going to start with 43. 43, whenever you add or subtract, just like in 45 as well, you need to have the same exponent on the 10. We already match our number 43, so we're going to go ahead and just add together the numbers that are not 10. So we're going to add 2.3 plus 5.7. You can do that in your calculator in your head. That is 8. And then you're going to keep the base the same, just like with fractions and exponents. So fractions and denominators, you keep the denominator the same, keep the exponent the same when you add or subtract these numbers. I'm going to skip 44 because I want to look at 45 while we're talking about adding and subtracting. We'll come back to 44 and 46. So again, we have subtraction, so we need to have the same exponent on the 10. Notice that we don't. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change one of them. You can change either one, but I'm going to add 1 to negative 11 to make it negative 10. So that's what I'm going to be at with my exponent. Because I did that, I need to take away a 10 from the other number. So I'm going to just go backwards 1. So now it's 0.48 times 10 to the negative 10. And if we wrote those numbers out in decimal notation, then they'd still end up being the same number. So because I went forward in the exponent, I went backward in the decimal, I'm at the same place. Okay, and now I can subtract 6.2 times 10 to the negative 10th. And let's go ahead and switch to the calculator. We can just do that part in the calculator. We're going to do 0. Calculator's going a little slow today. 48 minus 6.2. That's going to give us the first part, so that's negative 5.72. And again, we'll just keep our 10 and our exponent the same now that they've been changed to match. So for adding and subtracting, make sure that they always match, and the answer is in scientific notation here. Alright, number 44 and number 46, we're going to deal with the numbers that are not 10, and then we'll deal with the exponents. So we're going to multiply 3.41 times 3. And you put that in the calculator, you get 10 and 23 hundredths, or 0.23. And we're going to add, whenever you're multiplying with exponents, you're going to add the exponents. So 10 to the 18th. Now, one rule about scientific notation is that the first number, the one that's not the 10, needs to be smaller than 10. And so what we're going to do, kind of like what we did with number 45, we're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to take away a space here to make it smaller. You make this number smaller, that means you make the exponent bigger by the same amount. So we moved it back 1, we're going to make the exponent bigger by that 10. It's like we took a 10 and gave it to the exponents there. So that's our final answer. Now it is officially written in scientific notation. For number 46, we're going to do the same thing where we deal with first the numbers that are not 10. So the 6.3 divided by 3 gives you 2.1. And whenever you're dividing with exponents, you're actually going to subtract them. So it's going to be 10 to the 7 minus negative 11. And remember, our rules from previous video is that you need to add when you have a minus and a minus, or minus and negative. So that really becomes 2.1 times 10 to the 7 plus 11, which gives you the 18 for the exponent there. And that is 43 through 46. The rest of these problems deal with the order of operations, so I'm just going to write that over here to remind myself. Got parentheses first, exponents. You might have learned that the order of operations in a different way. That's fine. I'm just going to add that whenever you do exponents, you do the square roots at the same time. We don't have any problems with square roots here, but you will have them in the future. Multiplication and division are on the same level, and when you get to them, you're going to go left to right in the problem. Same thing is true of addition and subtraction. we're going to go left to right. So on number 47, we don't have parentheses, we don't have exponents, so we're moving on to multiplication or division. We're going to focus on division. What helps me whenever I get a division as part of these is I always write it as a fraction. It's a little bit easier for me to look at and remember what to do first. So I have 3 plus negative 4 divided by 2 minus 6. Let's go ahead and do our division. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So I'm at 3 minus 2 minus 6. And now we have just subtraction, so we're going to go left to right. 3 minus 2 is 1, minus 6 is negative 5. That's our answer for number 47. Let's move on to 48. We have some parentheses and some exponents here. So we're going to do our parentheses first. 2 plus 4 is 6. And then let's move to exponents. So 4 to the second power is 16 plus 3 times 6 to the third power. And if you need to, you can use your calculator on that. Remember, in the last video, we talked about how to use the exponent button on the calculator. So let's do that real quick. 6 to the third power is 216. So we have 3 times 216. Alright, next in our list of the word operations is multiplication and division. We have just multiplication here. So our 16 will stay the same, and then we're going to have plus, just moving up here. 3 times 216, let's do that in the calculator. Multiply that by 3. 648. And then we have minus 6 times 7 is 42. So then we'll add those left to right. 16 plus 648 minus 42 gives you a total of 622. Okay, moving on to 49. We have lots of adding and subtracting. And we also have an absolute value, which we'll treat like a parentheses. So we're going to keep everything else right now. And then inside of the absolute value, we have 7 plus 8, which is 15, minus 9 is 6. And remember, the absolute value says, how far away is this from 0? 6 units away, so we can just replace that with a positive 6. There's already a minus sign there, so that doesn't change the minus sign that's already there. And then we're going to go left to right, like it says to do with addition and subtraction. 3 plus 4 is 7, minus 5 is 2, plus 6 is 8, minus 6 is just 2. If you get stuck on that, remember to go left to right. That will help. Now 50 is interesting because it's got a huge exponent. We'll get to that in a minute. We're going to start with just what's in parentheses. So remember, we're not going to use the 250 or the exponent yet. Then I'm going to move to the calculator again. And we're just going to do what's inside parentheses. So I'm going to do the fraction, 0.07 divided by 12. Okay, and then the next thing says to add 1 to that. So I'm just going to add 1 in the calculator. So I have 1.0058. Let's go put that in our parentheses here. And the 3 is repeating, so I'll just put that. So our next thing that we've done parentheses is to type the exponents. And I'm doing this one part at a time. If you try to type that whole thing in your calculator, it may interpret it incorrectly depending on how you type it in. So let's go ahead in our calculator now, do the exponent before we do the 250. So I'm just going to take that answer that's there and push my exponent button and raise it to the 36th power. That'd be 1.23, and the last step is going to be to multiply that by 250. So final answer is 308. Again, this one doesn't say where to round it to, so you can just put a few of the decimal places. You'll be fine. Right there. Alright, 51 is another tricky one because of the order of operations. It looks like parentheses, right? We should do the multiplication over there first. But there's nothing inside of the parentheses to do. Again, it might help if we look at it left to right, like I did on number 47. We're going to go left to right. So the first thing you do is actually 36 divided by 6, and then multiply it by that last 6. We're going left to right because we only have multiplication and division left. So 36 divided by 6 is 6. There was already 6 there. So multiply those. Our final answer is 36. That's a tricky one. Number 52 is also a little sneaky. Remember that we're going to do multiplication first, so that means this problem, just this one becomes 0. The other ones will stay there. The hardest part about this one is making sure you write down all the ones that are there. 7 became 0, then add 1. So now we're just adding all the ones that are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plus 0 is still 5, plus 1. Our total on number 52 is 6. And those are the exercises. Remember, if you need any help, to talk to a tutor in the math lab or your professor. They can help you out with these as well.